Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 214 was absolutely wild. We finally got to see Plot G ascend from grade 1 to Supreme grade 1. Instead of getting no diffed by Maki, he's now gonna get low diff. Alright, now the trolling aside, the power up from Yuji was incredibly impressive. I mean, right now, his physical stats like speed and strength far surpass even Jogo, which is saying something because he was already around 8-9 fingers. And although Yuji didn't actually damage Sukuna before the Sukuna nerf, he was still doing a great job of just keeping up with him, even though he was slightly losing. It was pretty even, and we can say that Yuji was a bit injured from the punch that he took in the start. But this does raise so many questions. How is he so strong? Why is he so strong? And just who is Yuji right now? Because there was a very interesting line specifically from Sukuna saying, oh right, this brat is from back then. Then he proceeds to say, that Kenjaku is so damn twisted. Now this can imply a million different things, and that's what we're going to be getting into today. Just what is Yuji? And there's a whole bunch of theories on who he is, who he was, and a whole bunch of other stuff, so you're definitely going to want to hear this. And if you don't want to get caught lacking like Fraud Kuna did in this chapter, be sure to hit the subscribe button, because hey, I make a ton of JJK content, theories, what ifs, versus battles, so trust me, if you're a fan of JJK, you're going to want to subscribe. And of course, shout out to that guy Trey for being the only member of the Honored One and Special Grade members of the channel. Thanks man, you're absolute Giga Chad. Thank you. So the first theory is the most basic of all the theories, and it's just Yuji is pretty much an incarnation. So the reason I say this is because clearly Sukuna recognized Yuji as being someone from back then, implying most likely Yuji was from the Heian era, because that's the era for Sukuna was from. So if he recognized him from someone in the past, it would have been the Heian era. So obviously we saw Yuji be born from the present day and even has memories of being born in the present day and being in the hospital room. And we know that if the reincarnation were to be a person, the reincarnation would need to be of an adult. So the theory goes is that when Yuji was born from Kenjaku, he fed the baby Yuji, who was just a newborn, incarnation of a sorcerer from the past, but he had the memory manipulated so that the memories were wiped. And obviously this would give into why Yuji would look like this person from the past, because once you're incarnated, you get a very similar look. I mean, with the incarnations we've seen so far, it seems you even get a lot of changes in your facial structures and such. I mean, it isn't the case with Sukuna and Megami, but with all the other sorcerers from what we've seen in the present day and the past, such as Ryu, Kashimo, there does seem to be somewhat of a change, so maybe that's why Sukuna recognizes who Yuji is or how he looks. And it would also explain why Yuji has no memories of his past incarnation and why he has the memories of just growing up, because the incarnation would have had its memories completely wiped, so they would even have no idea of who they even are. So then Yuji really is the Yuji we know, but he just has the body of a past incarnation that he was given when he was a newborn. Pretty interesting theory. The second theory, Yuji is a reincarnation, so it's very important to distinguish between the two. So an incarnation is when someone from the past is basically reborn or rebirthed, however they keep all of the memories from their past lives. So in essence, it's like the person from the past is back in the present. So that's why we have all the sorcerers from the Culling games who are incarnations retain their personalities, memories, powers, and abilities all from the past lives, because they are incarnation. A reincarnation, on the other hand, is someone who is just completely reborn, but they are of the soul or the essence of the person from the past life. So they aren't that person, but they have the soul of the person from the past life. And the reason why this fits with Yuji, because Yuji having such incredible strength would make sense if he is a reincarnation or a rebirth of someone, since we know that the soul is tied to the curse technique. Well, both the soul and the body. It's really interesting. It's a great debate to be had. But at the very least, you could argue in the same way that if you take over someone's body, even after their soul left, you can still use their curse technique, such as the case with Kenjaku and Geto. You could also make the argument that if you have the soul of someone, you could still use their curse technique. The biggest example is Mahito, who's all about souls, and he uses the soul to use his own curse technique, so there's that as well. So this would make a lot of sense. If Yuji really is the reincarnation of someone from the past, that's why Sukuna maybe would recognize how they look, because the reincarnation maybe just looks very similar, which also is a trope in reincarnation, at least in some examples, and it would also tie into why Yuji would have the same abilities, such as having maybe great physical strength. Maybe the person Sukuna knew in the past also had great physical strength. Now, why is Yuji reincarnation? We don't know. It definitely has to do at the very least with Kenjaku, because Kenjaku then says, damn, you really are twist. Theory number 3, Yuji is the reincarnation of Sukuna's twin half. First of all, just to set some groundwork, when Sukuna remembers, or at least realizes who Yuji really is from the past, he proceeds to say that Kenjaku is twisted. And I just want you to realize how insane it is for someone as evil, diabolical, and just vicious as Sukuna to call you twisted. Yeah, it's gotta be something really messed up that you've done for Sukuna to say this. If you aren't aware, Ryomen Sukuna actually was a person in real life, and this person was basically basically born with two heads. So it's basically twins in one body, which is actually a phenomenon in real life if you actually look it up. And obviously we know in Jujutsu Kaisen twins are extremely important, as we saw with Maki and Yuji, as the cursed energy between the two is directly tied and linked. Now there is a very common and popular theory, now this has been around for a very long time, way before this chapter even came out. Sukuna, maybe when he was in the womb, at birth, or at some point, actually ate the twin second head on the body, and that's why he's so strong. Because as we saw with Maki, look what happens when you lose your twin, you just go crazy really strong. So it is possible that this is why Sukuna is so powerful, because not only did the twin die, he actually ate and consumed the twin, which is just madness. And perhaps this would actually explain why his second half of his face is messed up. Because again, the real Ryomen Sukuna on part of his face had the head of the other twin coming out, so maybe that's why that part's messed up, because he removed the head or he ate it or he did something crazy. And again, the theory comes in, Yuji is the reincarnation of that twin. This would be pretty insane, and it would really explain the similarities between Yuji and Sukuna, because they really just look alike. I mean, a lot. It's really crazy. I mean, not just because he's an incarnation when he takes over his body. I mean, true form Sukuna looks a lot like Yuji. So maybe this would actually explain that. And just one key important thing to say is that GEGE did confirm in an interview that Yuji has no wife and no children. So we know that the Itadori family isn't a descendant of Sukuna's. However, it says nothing about brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers, which of course you need a mother and father to have been born. But it says nothing about siblings though. So it's very possible, and of course based on the true Sukuna in real life, that Sukuna had a twin. Yuji might be this reincarnation of the twin that died, hence why even someone like Sukuna is saying that this is twisted, because again, it's important to note that it's not just the fact that it's someone that Sukuna knew. Sukuna thought it was disgusting or messed up that Kenjaku had brought Yuji into this world, so very clearly that's a very important distinction to make. And the only thing we know about Sukuna that would probably disgust him is the fact that maybe someone like his brother, or maybe a friend, but most likely the twin. Now, one of the other theories, I can't remember if this is theory 4 or 5, but it's that Yuji is the humanity that Sukuna discarded. And just quick shout out to @HVBachi on Twitter, because they are the one who came up with this theory, or at the very least they were the first person I saw to say this tweet. And I just want to say, my god, this is such a beast of an idea, because it really does tie with, you know, Mahito being a curse that represents the evil side of humanity, or the exact reflection of humanity, and a reflection of that, so the goodness would be Yuji. But why is Yuji such a direct reflection or parallel of Mahito? Why is he such a force of good? Why is he such a force of humanity? It makes sense if Yuji is the humanity that Sukuna discarded. Now I'm not gonna lie, this theory has the least amount of evidence for it, but at the very least it just sounds really cool. I mean, Yuji is the humanity that Sukuna lost. I mean, it would explain why Sukuna is just such a vicious monster. He really doesn't care. I mean, look at the speech we got in chapter 214. This man is a menace to society. This would just really explain on why Sukuna is the way he is and why Yuji is the way he is. Please let me know if you have any theories in the comments down below. I really am so curious and I'm so fascinated by this idea. So if you want to expand on any of the theories that I said, or if you want to add your own theories, which I really want to hear this, let me know in the comments down below. And it really was nice to see Yuji just get a power up as well. I do think in the next chapter Yuji is gonna awaken his curse technique. Maybe the flames of Sukuna, maybe the even dismantle because it's now ingrained on his body. Hey, maybe the anti-gravity. Who knows? I do think he's gotta get his curse technique because the physical amps is really cool. But come on, we gotta just put the cherry on top, you know, the icing. Okay, give him that curse technique. Please, GEGE, please. You already gave him the power. We need to get this moment. And I know Yuji's main guy, Blaziken, would love this as well. So hey, GEGE, do it for Blaziken. You know, he's been on Yuji's side for so long. You know, he deserves it as well. So, and speaking of, yeah, shout out my guy Blaziken. He is eating good right now, as all the Yuji fans are, and as they should be. I mean, Blaziken's been on Yuji for a very long time. Yuji's been his boy for a while, so I'm glad for him. I'm glad for all the Yuji fans, because man, I was roasting the crap out of Yuji for so long, because it's just such an easy victim to poke, because he loses all his fights and he has plot and he still loses, and he's always getting called a side character. But hey, now Yuji's getting his time to shine. So Yuji fans, you guys are up right now. I'll still be trolling a bit though, you know, just a bit more trolling on Yuji. That was the video. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like to show that you did enjoy the video and you want to see more videos like this. And of course, if you haven't, sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, a ton of JJK content, this, what ifs, theories, live streams, live reactions, blind live reactions, reviews, versus battles. Oh my god, just a whole bunch of stuff. So hey, if you aren't subscribed, it would be much appreciated. And of course, thank you to all of the members of the channel. You guys really make these things possible. Thank you. It's really much appreciated. Thanks. But yeah, that's all. Have a nice day, guys, and take care. See ya.